Alright guys, we are gonna be reacting to Trump hides in shame as Germany just dropped a bombshell. We're gonna react to this crazy video. Let's jump in, let's see what's going on.
The nation of Germany just dropped a major bombshell on the Trump administration, and no doubt President Chickenhawk is raging over this perceived slight, which also could be a problem for the entire United States in the very near future. If you fretted over Donald Trump smashing so many longtime American alliances, or if you just want a reason to crave some schnitzel and strudel, which does suddenly sound really good, you're going to love this. The Deutschland diss of Donald Trump up here next on The David Reddish Show.
Okay.
Welcome, my beautiful viewers. I am your host, once again reminding you to please subscribe to our channel now. We are so close to our next benchmark of 350,000 subscribers as we move toward our goal of 500,000, and it would be lovely to point out our
Interesting, he has Franklin D. Roosevelt and Obama.
channel's growth to our producers.
Why those two
as we all
Democrats?
get
Interesting,
paid
right?
This week. I'm just saying, it would be a huge favor. But let's get to Germany, which at present is not doing any favors for President Strokey von Gropey. Recall first that Trump and German Chancellor Friedrich Merz have a history of awkward exchanges. Remember this, cringer?
I'm here, Mr. President, to talk with you later on how we could contribute to that goal. And we all are looking for measures and for instruments to bring this terrible war to an end. And may I remind you that we are having June 6th tomorrow. This is D-Day anniversary, when the Americans once ended a war in Europe. And I think this is in your hand in specific, in ours.
That was not a pleasant day for you?
No, that was not a pleasant. Well, in the long run, Mr. President, this was the liberation of my country from Nazi dictatorship.
Yes, Trump is crazy, bro. Why would you say that?
So it's true. And we know
Jesus
what we
Christ,
owe,
bro.
But this is the reason why I'm saying that America is again in a very strong position to do something on
Jesus
this
Christ.
war.
Yeah, bringing up the Nazis to the Germans in a press conference, not a good look. And yet somehow that looks tame compared to this latest mudslinging, so stick around. Most recently, Merz and Trump have found themselves at odds over the war in Iran, especially after Trump appealed to him and the Germans for help.
We are ready to ensure safe passage through the Straits of Hormuz diplomatically. However, there will be no military participation. We stand by our commitments and we are fulfilling our alliance tasks, particularly on NATO's eastern flank and in the High North.
What does the world expect? What does Donald Trump expect from, let's say, a handful or two handfuls of European frigates in the Strait of Hormuz that the powerful American Navy cannot accomplish there alone?
Yeah, the Orange Menace definitely turned red over that one, much as, no doubt, he is about to when he hears this breaking news. Following Merz spurning Trump's request to help dig him out of the Iran quagmire, things have only gotten worse in the war. The Iranians now control the Strait of Hormuz, and their oil reserves are at maximum, meaning they will very likely slow oil production.
Yo, when was this? Let me see. 2 days ago. Okay. Interesting.
In the coming weeks, which means the current shortage brought on by this war will get worse before it gets better. And if that knowledge alone wasn't enough to rattle Trump, this should be. Speaking this morning at a school visit in Marsburg, Germany, Merz offered a bleak assessment of the war and the chickenhawk president who started it. Now, this is in German, but it is translated to English in the subtitles. Take a look.
Ich erkenne im Augenblick nicht, welchen strategischen Exit die Amerikaner jetzt wählen, zumal die Iraner offensichtlich sehr geschickt verhandeln oder eben sehr geschickt nicht verhandeln. Und die Amerikaner da nach Islamabad reisen lassen und ohne Ergebnis wieder abreisen lassen. Da wird eine ganze Nation gedemütigt durch die iranische Staatsführung, vor allem durch diese sogenannten Revolutionsgarden.
And it gets worse. German news outlet Deutsche Welle elaborated even further on Merz's remarks. Quote, "The Iranians are clearly stronger than expected, and the Americans clearly have no truly convincing strategy in the negotiations either," close quote, Merz added. Quote, The problem with conflicts like this is always you don't just have to get in, you have to get out again. We saw that very painfully in Afghanistan for 20 years. We saw it in Iraq, close quote. He then added, quote, "It is at the moment a pretty tangled situation and it is costing us a great deal of money. This conflict, this war against Iran, has done direct impact on our economic output," close quote. In the same press conference, Merz went on to emphasize the need for Germany to take a major leadership position in the EU in the absence of any real collaboration from the United States. Presumably, that means also taking the lead in NATO and in the ongoing Russia-Ukraine conflict, which Trump has conveniently forgotten about in the midst of the Iran quagmire. So in other words,
I think that's the end goal, guys. When I think about these conflicts, right? Because we already moved in a weird way. We kind of moving away already from Iran conflict. You can see how do you know, right? Because you see the news and what are they talking about. In Iran, it's kind of just already like an afterthought. But now that you see now it's the resurgence of Russia and Ukraine and Putin, right? You see that. I always thought that Iran was just basically like how can I say this? Of course, the United States does have some interest in Iran, right? But most important to control that area. But at the end of the day, it's all about China and Russia. That's where I go with this stuff. It's all about China and Russia. And it's genuinely to stop the war in Ukraine because nobody's winning. I mean, logistically, Russia's winning, but it's winning with a high cost. You know what I'm saying? Which is not worth it. It's not worth it. I think they want to take all that Donbass region all the way to the north and to the south. But at the same time, a lot of Russians are dying there, which is not good. Let's see what this guy, and I do think Germany does have their concerns with this. Don't get me wrong. Like Germany cannot produce gas. I don't think they produce oil either. So they need some of these resources to just get their nature moving. So they're being affected by this.
Don't look for Trump to be able to make any kind of speedy exit from Iran, even as the 60-day deadline for which he will need congressional approval to continue the war approaches, and as he postpones sending diplomats to peace negotiations yet again. My beautiful viewers, there is a reason almost 2/3 of the country want Trump impeached. This Iran war must end, and Donald Trump lost it. He lost the war. The world and the United States are in more danger because of this war than they were before it started. And Chancellor Merz is showing what real leadership looks like. Republicans here at home could take a few lessons from him. Now then, if you will all excuse me, I'm suddenly craving schnitzel in honor of Merz's dignified remarks. Long live Deutschland. This is the David Reddish Show.
What the fuck happened with this dude? I don't know what the hell's going on with that dude. This was 2 days ago. Listen, I do think a couple things, right? I think it's not a lot of Americans make this mistake. We don't really know. Clearly, we don't really know what's the interest of Germany in Iran, Germany and the United States. Or we don't know what's the interest of the United States. Well, we kind of know what the interest of the United States is with Iran. We want to control the oil and some of that region. And of course, it makes sense since we don't, OPEC and a lot of these other countries that control the oil do inflate their pricing and thus create a lot of instability in the world. We don't want that. However, Iran is a major enemy of the United States, right? And you cannot trust them. However, one thing is that, and one thing is Germany. Germany has their own problems and they have their own challenges. It's not only Trump, because Trump is going to be gone here in a couple of years. So that's not going to be the real issue. The real issue is how does Germany move from this particular situation? Let's say United States and Iran get to a deal, but then you are in a position where Germany still have to rely on oil, and they're vulnerable in that position where any conflict can happen and they don't have access to that resource. I think that's That's why a lot of Americans don't understand it. The Iran stuff is just like a surface level kind of situation, and I do believe that Germany is doing their best to make sure that they can bring what they can, the best solutions to their country, I would say. And but let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, guys. I will see you in the next one.